Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.
What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing? So check this out, right? I know everybody going into Thanksgiving and all of the what they thankful for and all of this, that, and the other, right? I don't knock anybody. But for me, I'm thankful every day I wake up. Every wake up, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? So every day to me is Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Because every day that I'm above ground, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? Even when I might have a day that didn't go according to plan, when I wake up the next day, I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? Because God saw fit that I'm in the land of the living still. You know what I'm saying? But what I wanted to make this video about was, and this is just coming from something that I was just thinking about while I was at the gym. And it was like, I'm so thankful to God that I don't have the, yeah, I know spirit. And for those of y'all that don't know what the yeah, I know, have you ever been talking to someone, right? And you're trying to help them out and you're telling them stuff. And the first thing that they say is, yeah, I know. Or they come to you, they're like, man, I'm having this situation and blah, blah, blah. And you like, okay, well, you should do it. And they're like, yeah, I know. And you like, well, why did you come to me if you know? Right? And I think about, back in the day when my grandfather would have these conversations with me, right? And a lot of times, my grandfather, he's never been in the world. And what I mean by the world is he's never been out there. He grew up in church. Like he wasn't of the world. So a lot of times when he would be talking to me about stuff or I get in trouble or whatever, and he's explaining to me why I shouldn't have did X, Y, and Z and this, that, and other, right? In the back of my mind, sometimes I always will be like, well, how you know? You know what I'm saying? Like you've never been out there. You haven't faced, you know what I'm saying, the adversity of the, you know what I'm saying, dealing with all of that stuff. Like, how you know? That was in the back of my mind. But every time he talked to me, I would listen. Now I had two options. I can listen and apply, or I can listen and still do whatever I wanted to do. And every time I chose to do whatever I wanted to do, I found myself in a situation. And when I found myself in a situation, when we would revisit the conversation that he told me before, he would tell me, I told you, but you didn't listen. So now you find yourself in that position, right? And as I started growing, I started realizing that although he wasn't of the world, I was looking at things different because he had already lived life not being of the world. And to me, that was a bigger, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a bigger accomplishment than anything. Because he was around it, he chose not to be a part of it. And here I am thinking, well, you don't know how hard it is when X, Y, and Z, because you ain't never he had never even went to the movies. So I'm thinking like, how you gonna tell me this, that, and other? But as I start growing, I start realizing that's a feat in itself. Because you never was of the world. You chose to walk this certain path and you did it. So that's why when I remember when I joined the military, right? And you know what I'm saying? I get to Japan and, I was talking to people, whatever, and they was like, yo, you drink? I said, nah, I don't drink. You smoke? Nah, I don't smoke. And I remember they used to be like, oh, well, you going to, you know what I'm saying? This, that, and other. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I ain't do it back home with my homeboys and people that I know, why would I come all the way across, you know what I'm saying, the country and I mean the world and start doing something that I never did before? And a lot of people remembered me from that because it took a long time for a lot of people, right? Because then they would just start noticing you don't drink? Nah, you know what I'm saying? It never was me. But it was because I would have these conversations and my grandfather would tell me certain things, right? And it just stuck with me. Now, I'm not saying that I was perfect. You know what I'm saying? Everybody back home that know I was in trouble. But I'm saying the things that stuck with me. See, my foundation was intact. Whatever trouble that I chose to get into, that was because I chose to get into. I knew the right and I knew the left. I knew that if I went down this path, what was going to happen? I knew if I went down this path, this was going to happen, right? But I carried it in a way that causes me to be in the position that I'm in today. And a lot of people find themselves in these positions because they have that, yeah, I know spirit. Yeah, I know. You know what I'm saying? You talking to them, right? And sometimes you be like, listen, I'm older than you. I've lived life. I have been where you've at, and you have never been to where I'm at. So you would think that you would take some credence into what I'm saying, but a lot of people can't do that. You know why? Because growth hurts. And a lot of people are more comfortable being around people that look and are doing the same thing that they're doing. That makes them comfortable because they're not forced to grow. So here you are trying to pour life into them. They're not hearing you because it's painful. Because if they want to grow, you're going to have to shed off some friends. You're going to have to get out these circles because nothing changes if nothing changes. And that's why a lot of people find themselves every January 1st, new year, new them. And I'm not hating on anybody who needs to set a goal. But what I'm saying is every year you're saying the same thing. Then come May, you saying next year's going to be a better year. It's something that you're doing. Because nothing changes if nothing changes. I know people personally that come on social media and they be saying stuff and I be looking at it like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know you in real life, right? I don't, put nobody on blast or whatever, but I sit back and I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? Now you got to go back and you erasing everything that you posted. Because in that moment you was emotional and you saying all this other stuff, now you're erasing it, right? Then something happens again, then you're coming back and you're posting the stuff again, and then people don't believe you. They don't believe you after that. I'm telling you, come December coming up, you're going to start seeing the people saying, next year is my year. Well, what about if you don't make it to next year? Every day that you wake up is another chance to get it right. But so many people are in these situations that they're comfortable, right? They're in these situations that everybody looks like them. Everybody is doing the same thing, and that's where you're comfortable because there's no growth. Nobody's forcing you to grow. Now, here you go because you love this person. You trying to say, hey, listen, man, maybe if you do it this way, this, that. And then they, I know. I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know this, that, and the other, right? And then they're stuck. So in closing, if you're that type of person that you're able to hear what someone is saying to you, now it's up to you if you're going to listen to the advice of this, that, and other, but you're able to hear, you are that much farther in the game because there are some people that will not hear it because they got that, I know spirit.
Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it, come join the conversation, a connection's what we're creating. Yeah.